include Tesla and X, is now worth an estimated $1.1 trillion. That's more than the next four richest people in the world, both of Google's co-founders, Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg, combined.
Kentucky implemented a first-in-the-nation tax on prediction markets, and Friday a coalition of those markets, including Kalshi and Polymarket, filed suit, saying it's discriminatory, unconstitutional, and preempted by federal law. I'm Brian Clark, ABC News.
Shh, here it comes. Surprise! The people above your catering business are doing major construction, and the drilling is only during business hours. It's so loud.
Progressive knows small business owners usually don't like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money, getting personalized discounts on a commercial auto quote with Progressive.
Also, that isn't powdered sugar on the floor. It's plaster from your ceiling.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
The following is a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.
Drivers, start your engines. Pull those belts down tight one more time, warm up those tires, hit your marks, and let's go racing, boys and girls. NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One, Formula E, and NHRA Racing Talk. This is the Championship Racing Network. Now here is your host, Steve West and Matt Nicholson, with producer John Myers.
Yep, gang is all here, including John Bird here at the flagship station of Talk 99.5. Thank you very much for joining us here as we've already made it to the middle part of June. What?
Yeah.
Whew. Man.
A little quick there.
Indeed. Well, we do. Either way, appreciate you joining us here as we get ready to roll on. I've got to mute that. There we go. And plenty to get to here. Penalties, including some rescinded. And one regarding an interesting move in a series that we don't generally cover. But because it's one of the biggest races of the year, we're going to go ahead and talk just a little bit about it because you never know. You might be interested in checking out the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Goes on this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Things just... Oof, they kind of catch up to you, you know?
That they do.
All right, so busy weekend on the race weekend last weekend. First things first, how's things with you? You good?
I'm getting there.
Yeah?
Little by little.
You had some good news this week? Or recently, when it came to the health situation?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, regular. I've had so much going on that, it's hard to remember what day's what and which is which and how it happens. But,
I understand.
Yeah, everything's good. Had a regular routine, just get a 6-month checkup and still no recurrence of cancer. Everything looks good there so far.
Always love to hear that.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Last weekend, we talk and start with the Craftsman Truck Series of Michigan, where Corey Heim backed up the announcement that he was going to go Cup Series racing on a full-time basis next year with 2311 Racing. Jumped into the Tricon Garage #1 truck, and with a push from his teammate, Caden Honeycutt, who was driving the truck that Corey Heim drove last year, the number 11, gets the win at Michigan. This is win number 26 in the Craftsman Truck Series alone. Of those wins, they've come on 22 different tracks.
It's pretty sporty.
Shoo. It also leaves Honeycutt wondering what might have been. Heim wins, Honeycutt second. Moonlighter Carson Hosevar was third. Lane Riggs fourth. Chandler Smith got another Moonlighter in there. Christopher Bell, followed by another Moonlighter and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and finishing out the top 10, Connor Mosack, Jake Garcia, Tyler Ankrum. As far as the points are concerned, Lane Riggs leads those points over Caden Honeycutt, 497 to 471. Trailing them is Chandler Smith, Gio Ruggiero, Christian Eckes, Ben Rhodes, Ty Majeski, Tyler Ankrum, Daniel Hemrick, and Jake Garcia. Garcia is 10th of the 10 cars in the chase. Sitting in 11th, a mere 4 points out, is Corey Heim.
That is crazy.
That's
crazy.
It's a good way to put it. I like it. Did you watch Formula One last week?
I did not.
I did.
I did not.
It seemed like the Formula One version of the Keystone Cops. Kids, ask your grandparents. I mean, it was practically a comedy of errors. Penalties galore, attrition to spare. Speaking of attrition, Of the 22 cars that started, only 15 finished the race. Max Verstappen had a problem immediately. The engine, I'm talking about the internal combustion engine, basically said, I'm going to take the day off. I don't feel like racing. And so he ended up getting off the line only on hybrid power, went very, very slowly around the Monaco course, pulled it into the pits, and he was done. And that was just the start. You had a bunch of crashes. You had post-race penalties that messed with the final running order. After a late race red flag prompted a standing restart, which I thought was an interesting move, brought about yet another penalty, which we talked about on Crossed Flags pretty much in detail, dealt with the Cadillac of one Sergio Perez. So here's the official top 10 after all was said and done. Kimi Antonelli, one of the youngest winners in Monaco and F1 history, trailed by the veteran Lewis Hamilton. Isaac Hajar was third, Oscar Piastri fourth, Liam Lawson fifth, Arvin Lindblad sixth, Pierre Gasly seventh, Alex Albon eighth, Esteban Ocon ninth, Fernando Alonso in the top 10. We'll get, though, back to this because even that got messed up because there was an appeal by Pierre Gasly, who in this particular rundown finished seventh, and they upheld not the penalty, but his appeal. So we'll talk about that in the F1 news because, wow. Yikes. Points rundown, Kimi Antonelli on a 5-race heater. He's up on Lewis Hamilton now, 156-90. Then it's 88 for George Russell. George Russell, horrible day at Monaco, no points whatsoever. Charles Leclerc was 75, 60 for Oscar Piastri in the top 5. Mercedes is well out front of the Constructors' Cup standings, 244-165 over Ferrari. McLaren 118, Red Bull 72, 41 for Alpine, Racing Bulls 39, Haas F1 21, 11 for Williams, Audi with 2, Aston Martin, Fernando Alonso moving up into the top 10 with 1. And the reason why is because the Cadillac of Sergio Perez, which technically crossed the line in 10th, because of the penalty that we talked about in the Crossed Flags podcast, he got docked 10 seconds, and that dropped him from 10th to 15th, and no points for Cadillac. Then we go to New Hampshire for a shortened NHRA New England Nationals. Rain came into play as well. That left both Top Fuel and Funny Car hanging, set to decide those two at the next event. Actually happened last night. Leah Pruitt to face Sean Langdon in the Top Fuel Finals. Funny Car, an all John Force Racing final between Jordan Vandergriff and Ron Capps. But if we take things in order, we go Pro Stock, which did get things up in New Hampshire. Dallas Glenn took on Matt Hartford in the final, both with great reaction times, but Glenn, 0.002. You don't get much better than that.
You do not. That's about as close as it gets.
And it makes all the difference. Whole shot win because Hartford was actually quicker light to light, but the reaction time made the difference. Glenn's run a 6.543 ET, 209.39 miles per hour. Glenn's third win this year, 24th of his career. Pro Stock Motorcycle didn't run. Pro Stock Car points, Dallas Glenn taking the lead, up 39 on Greg Anderson. Greg Stanfield, 189 down. Matt Hartford is 239 back. Erica Enders is fifth, 290 out of first. And then we go to Michigan. Michigan at times kind of felt like a demo derby.
I could safely say that's an understatement.
What the heck was going on? It was a beautiful day, clean track.
It's what it boils down to is everybody being aggressive.
I guess.
I mean, a lot of that was out of aggressiveness.
I guess. When it came down to who was going to claim the win, seems like Denny Hamlin's just kind of doing things to test himself. Think about it. The week before, he jumps the start of the race, and because of that, has to do a pass-through penalty, which means he goes all the way back to the back of the field.
Yep. And
then works his way up through the field, claims the win. Well, he ends up backing that up at Michigan. All that work that he did gets the 11 car on the pole, and then the Joe Gibbs Racing team has to do work on the car after qualifying, which means what? He has to start at the back of the field.
Yep.
And what does he do? He works his way back up through the field again, gets the win again. In the process, claims win number 63 in his career. That ties in with Kyle Busch with that number, something that we detailed on the Cross Flags podcast as well. Hamlin bests Eric Jones. Nice run by them. We haven't heard much from Legacy MC this year, but it looks like they're kind of starting to wake up.
I will I will say this in complete confidence. If that race is 50 laps longer and it's a 500-mile race, 43 catches the 11.
0.3 of a second separating the 11 and the 43 car. Bubba Wallace is third. Kyle Larson fourth. Carson Hocevar fifth. Daniel Suarez was sixth, trailed by Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Chris Buescher, and Chase Briscoe in the top 10. Tyler Reddick, a bad day at the office. Still leads the points, though. 639 to 618 over Denny Hamlin. But you want to talk about closing that gap. Denny Hamlin's closing it quick. Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Ty Gibbs make up the rest of the top 5. Rest of your 16 who would make the chase now if it were to start. Kyle Larson, Carson Hocevar, Chris Buescher, Daniel Suarez, Christopher Bell, Bubba Wallace, William Byron, Chase Briscoe, Shane Van Gisbergen, Brad Keselowski, Austin Cindric. Cindric is 16th, and not comfortably either. Joey Logano is 17th, and he's only outside of the chase by a slim 3-point margin. And then the weekend wrapped up with a rare Sunday night primetime race for IndyCar at Worldwide Tech Raceway at Gateway. King of the track finding himself in kind of a back-and-forth battle with Christian Rasmussen for a good portion of the race. The pair traded the lead some 5 times over the last 55 laps. But ultimately, Rasmussen faded. Joseph Newgarden ends up with win number 6 at Worldwide Tech Raceway, and he's only raced there 11 times. So he's got a better than 50% winning percentage at that track.
It's pretty strong.
Not bad at all.
Pretty strong.
Marcus Ericsson tried to close over the final laps, ran out of those laps, finishing second. Rasmussen faded to third. Renus VK, Scott McLaughlin, Kyle Kirkwood, David Malukas, Will Power, Marcus Armstrong, and Christian Lundgaard fill out the top 10. Alex Palou, not a good night in the Midwest, still, though, leads the points by a fairly significant 342 to 293 margin over Kyle Kirkwood. David Malukas, Christian Lundgaard, Pato Award still making up the top 5. Not much of a change there. Dennis Hauger continues to lead the rookie points, now 133 to 99 over Kyle Collette. And if Kyle Collette doesn't watch out, Mick Schumacher seems like he's starting to get it. He's closing. He's now in at 88 points.
He's slowly creeping in there.
And here's the thing. While we didn't talk about him in the top 10, Mick Schumacher, for a guy who basically grew up in the Formula One feeder series, which means a whole lot of road courses and not a whole lot of oval experience, he's slowly but surely getting better at the oval tracks, too.
Little by little, you can tell that his confidence for the ovals, for sure, is getting back, getting in there.
No
Not
doubt.
getting back, but getting in there.
Honda continues to lead the engine manufacturer standings over Chevrolet. This one's 759 to 677 with the win by Joseph Newgarden. That helped Chevrolet a little bit. But, man, they seem behind the 8 ball behind Honda right now. Let's see. On the racing slate this weekend here, let's start with what happened last night in the NHRA. Leah Pruitt finishes off the New England Nationals in Bristol, Tennessee. Okay. It's just the way things go. They didn't have time to delay it. They needed to get them out of New England and down to Tennessee. So they said, we'll just run the finals there and do it on Friday. Again, Leah Pruitt taking on Sean Langdon. Pruitt pulls a 3.794 ET, 332.43 miles per hour, gets the win. Her first win of this season, her 13th career win, but it's her first win since 2023. Remember, she took 2024 and 2025 off to start a family with her husband and boss, Tony Stewart. So she's back. And you and I talked about her last week in the qualifying round. She ended up facing off against him and plastered him.
Plaster is a nice way of putting it.
Tell me there's not a rivalry in that household.
A little bit.
Meantime, over in Funny Car, it was Jack Beckman taking on his John Force Racing teammate Jordan Vandergriff. I don't know what happened here, but apparently there's a traction situation. Jack Beckman claims the win with a relatively slow 4.017 ET at 318.55 miles per hour. It's his 38th career win, 6th different winner in the Funny Car division this year.
Yeah, they're looking at the qualifying orders at Bristol, right where they're running at Bristol, and they finished those finals at Bristol. Bristol's got a little bit of a problem with launch times and speed.
And I know that they did something of a resurface there.
They resurfaced the first 300 feet.
And I'm wondering if that might be the problem.
I can guarantee it's the problem.
All right. What else is going on the racing slate this weekend? Start with the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, Miller Tech Battery 250 presented by KOA, Campgrounds of America. I haven't heard of them in a while. It's at Pocono Raceway, airs on the CW and MRN radio, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central Time this afternoon. Sunday's a busy day. Sunday morning racing going to get rolling with the MSC Cruises Grand Prix of Barcelona, Catalunya circuit. This will be the last year of them as a regular. Starting next year, they'll actually be in a 1 year off, 1 year on deal. Next year, they'll be off, and they'll be back in 2028. We'll talk about that more in F1 News. 14 turns, 2.8 miles long. Course can be, and you can see that race if you have it on Apple TV starting at 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central Time. NHRA at Bristol for the Super Grip Thunder Valley Nationals. That's going to be happening tomorrow. I forgot to get the time because, number one, you've got the time that it actually starts on the track, and I want to say that's 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Time is when the action starts. Fox Sports 1, I think, has the coverage, and that'll kick off about 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central Time, if I remember right.
I think something like that, yeah.
So you can check that out there. Yeah, there we go.
One thing.
I found it. Yeah, there it is. I was right. Noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central Time is when the on-track finals action starts. Fox Sports 1 gets in 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central Time.
Touching something on Bristol real quick that I see right here.
Yeah.
Looking at the qualifying ladders and orders. There are 9 divisions competing at Bristol. 33% of the divisions only have full fields.
Ooh.
Super Stock
Ouch.
and Stock Eliminator have 40 car fields. Pro Mod has 18. None of the Nitro classes, nor Pro Stock or Pro Stock Motorcycle, has a full field of 16.
Wow.
Funny Car only has 14.
Ouch. Finally, of the series that we cover, Cup Series gets into action. Great American Getaway 400 presented by Visit PA at Pocono. Prime, Amazon Prime and MRN Radio have the action 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central Time tomorrow. Craftsman Truck Series, IndyCar, IHRA, Formula E, all off this weekend. But there is that one more thing that I was mentioning. One of the biggest races of the year happening this weekend, 24 Hours of Le Mans. And you can actually check it out. It's going to be shown either on Motor Trend TV or HBO Max if you happen to have either one of those either channels or streaming options. Starts at about the midway portion of our show, so about 40 minutes from now is going to get started 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central Time. Cadillac claimed the pole. Had the pole stripped when the race director said the team released driver Jack Aiken too early, meaning they didn't follow the race director's instructions, so the pole gets taken away on a technicality. The penalty drops them to starting 10th.
I don't think it'll take him long to be up through there.
I doubt it, seriously.
Don't touch that dial. The Championship Racing Network will be right back.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-608-0955.
Four tires and 2 cans of fuel, and we're back to more racing action on the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome back into the show. Steve West, Matt Nicholson, producer John Myers on CRN Live on YouTube, producer John Bird right here at Talk 99.5, and also on Real Talk 99.5. He is helping us out on the YouTube side for the radio station as well. Real quick, want to say a big thank you to Danny Sample and the folks out at Siluria Brewing Company. Out there last night, as I am every Friday night, for music trivia. Had a great time. 12 teams, and talk about a lot of teams that had multiple players on them. It was a great time. We had a fantastic time, and it's each and every Friday night starting at 7 p.m. Come on out. Hope you have a chance to come on out and have a good time. And let's face it, wide selection of home craft brews. They do ciders. They also do some wines. They have a root beer if you are not of a alcoholic or adult beverage kind of person or have a youngster in the family. There's places outside, out back where they can run around and get some energy out as well. Plus, they've got all kinds of stuff that goes on throughout the course of the week. General knowledge trivia on Tuesday nights. Tonight, they've got a musical act that's going to be there. Jeremy Stevens is going to be on the stage. And in a couple of weeks, if you want to test if you think you're really, really good at science fiction movie trivia, on the 27th, that'll be, again, 2 weeks from tonight, Saturday night, they will be doing a trivia game all about science fiction movies. And there's a lot more of them out there than just the likes of Star Wars, okay? So be prepared and come with guns a-blazing, if you will, or lasers a-blazing. Siluria Brewing Company. Check them out on the social medias. 145 First Avenue West in Alabaster. It's a great time, a great place to go, especially if you are over the mountain. And again, Friday night, 7 o'clock. Why wouldn't you come out and play a little music trivia with us? Mm-hmm. All right, from there, let's go from one game to another game. We haven't talked about this in a while, and also want to update it for our relatively new listeners on Talk 99.5. Last year we did this on NASCAR.com, and it's a fantasy league where the winner, as long as it's not either Matt or I, or John Myers, for that matter. At the rate I'm going,
it's definitely not going to be me.
But as long as it's not one of the three of us here involved at CRN, you could win some CRN swag, a hat and a T-shirt, or if you choose to trade that in, we might do a hoodie. We did that last year for the winner. But again, it's been a while since we updated. First of all, how can they play if they want to jump in on it?
All you got to do is just go to NASCAR.com Fantasy Live website and search up the name CRN Live, CRN Fantasy Live 2026, and that'll get you in.
Okay. And feel free to start at any point in time. And you think, well, why would I start now? We're, 13, 14 races into the year? Mm-hmm. Because it gets you in, you start to get comfortable with it, and next year, you never know. You might be the person that jumps up there and grabs the win.
Very true. Very true.
All right. Well, you said you're not doing well. I don't think I'm doing all that well either, truth be told.
You got me by 3 spots. I'll say that.
Well, if you're sitting in the cellar, that doesn't help me much, does it?
Yeah, I'm sitting definitely in the cellar. For
all
sure.
right. Well, let's run it down.
Running by how their alias names are on the Fantasy League roster. Junebug is first, Trickle 99 second, Jack 33rd. Chase B is 4th. Steve is sitting 5th. Boom Slick is sitting 6th. Fire Chef sitting 7th. I'm sitting 8th. JG3 is 9th. Big Ben 10th. Staceman 11th. And John Myers is 12th.
There you go. All right, so let's see how we do this weekend.
Well, when you said that, I just reset mine. So we're going to see.
Uh-huh.
I just restacked it. So.
Yeah, I'm going to have to just wipe out everybody that I got and start all over again, I can tell you that. All right, so into the Cup Series news, and we talked about this during the rundown. We did talk about it also in the recap just a minute ago. So in the Cross Flags podcast and in the rundown, we talked about how Denny Hamlin ties Kyle Busch on the all-time Cup wins list. 63 wins. And I know that the teams see things like this coming. I get that.
Yep.
But you want to talk about a really, really cool prep situation here. He comes around, celebrates the win with a burnout. One of the Joe Gibbs Racing crew members hands him a black flag. At the bottom is Kyle Busch's signature. Stylized 18. Of course, that was the number he used when he was with Joe Gibbs Racing. The 1 in outline, the 8 in the style and also in the font of the number that he used at Richard Childress Racing filled in with white. Mm-hmm. So it was a great callback to his time at Joe Gibbs, to the car that he was most recently in, and the fact that he claims 63 wins.
Yep. And
that's just the Cup Series.
And you can already bank on that. I can say it to you. You can bank on this. He's gonna break it, and you'll see this celebration again.
It could happen this week. You think about it. Denny Hamlin is great at Pocono.
He's the active wins leader at Pocono.
I mean, I got a hard time betting against him.
Yeah.
I really do.
I can safely say you're going to see this again.
Yeah. Had the flag flying as he continued the burnout, held the flag during his trackside post-race interview, said on the team radio that he had a lot of respect for his former teammates, said on the team radio, quote, "Truthfully, I had to outlive him to tie him. We love you, KB. He was an amazing teammate. He taught me so much at tracks like this. I just can't say enough." What could, and we'll get back to his quotes here in a minute, what is it that Kyle Busch brought to a place like a Michigan that Denny Hamlin picks up on?
Because when they repaved Michigan back in the early 2010s, in a way it turned into, how do I word this? In a way it turned into something like a miniature super speedway like Atlanta.
Oh, yeah. And it's still maybe the fastest track on the surface if you look at the average speed.
I mean, yeah, the pole speed was 195 miles an hour.
And that beats Daytona and Talladega.
And Atlanta by a lot.
Yeah, that's true too.
By a lot.
Yeah.
So, in a way, it's like I said, it's like a miniature super speedway, and how you use the air and use that to your advantage, and use the momentum that you can build at that racetrack. Because outside of, and it's using in comparison here, anybody that knows me that's on the iRacing platform knows that a super speedway style track is my best suit. Mm-hmm. Michigan has turned into one of my top 5 best tracks because it's super speedway style, aero, flat out, and how you use that air. Kyle was one of the better ones in modern day in a super speedway style setup.
Yeah.
So you can take that stuff right there and apply it to Michigan and use it in a lot of ways.
And it also didn't hurt that even though they repaved it, it did not really affect the ability to race on several different lines.
No, you can run Michigan top to bottom.
Yeah. And we saw that last week.
Yeah.
It was really
You really
cool.
can.
Later on during his post-race media interviews, joining the Prime crew on their pit road stage, Hamlin reiterated that despite this kind of seeming resurgence in his career, he talked about how he's out really just padding stats and grabbing wins, maybe looking for a title. But again, he's still just looking to fill out his contract. It runs through next year. And then he says he's stepping aside. He will step aside from full-time racing. He may get in a car every once in a while. After all, he is part owner of 2311 Racing, so he could basically jump in a Cup car anytime he felt like it. He also noted this, and this I think is interesting when it comes to silly season news, because nothing obviously is confirmed and probably won't be until this time next year, maybe even a little later. But
If not earlier.
Denny Hamlin says, and he probably very honestly believes this, that the number 11 seat when he gets out of it is going to go to Brent Cruz. And we talked about him last week. And is he close enough to being ready to make that jump to the Cup Series? Or is this going to be, hey, let's throw him into the fire and see what he can do?
One, what name did I say 2 weeks ago on the show?
It was that name.
2, by the end of next year, he'll be ready.
Okay. And I can't argue that, because the truth of the matter is I'm watching this kid, and he has adapted to the O'Reilly Auto Parts series like a duck to water.
Yeah, that and then some.
Yeah.
But, and, if somebody from JGR apparently is listening, because, I said that name 2 weeks ago before Denny Hamlin even said it. So, yeah, I'll sign me up next week.
There you go. Another milestone for Hamlin. He's also now part of a rather exclusive Cup Series club. This club is where the driver has won at least 50 races and claimed at least 50 pole positions. The others in that club are, not surprisingly, the king, Richard Petty. 200 wins, 123 poles in his career. David Pearson is the one guy who's got it backwards, so to speak. David Pearson, who claims 105 wins, had 113 poles in his career. Jeff Gordon sits at 93 and 81. Bobby Allison, 85 and 59. Darrell Waltrip, 84 and 59. Cale Yarborough, 83 and 69. And Denny Hamlin now at 63 and 50. Here's the thing. Everybody on that list, save Denny Hamlin, has something in common. They're all at least a one-time Cup Series champion.
Mm-hmm.
Denny Hamlin's the outlier. For now. Anyway.
It's extremely hard for me to believe that Jimmy Johnson's not on that list.
It is. I have to admit, I don't know how many pole positions he's got.
That's what I'm searching right now.
So I'll let you look that up. Meantime, 1 week after we talked about the crash that Romain Grosjean had in IndyCar and then had to have a screw inserted into the pinky finger of his right hand, Christopher Bell says, you know what? I can beat that with a little help. Suffered a wrist fracture in a crash that took him out of the race in Michigan. Here's the thing. Fractured wrist, cleared to race tomorrow at Pocono.
Insane.
Insane. The crash in question happened on lap number 148. Chase Bell gets under Bell. Didn't touch him, just kind of basically took the air off of him. Through turns 3 and 4, Elliott got up, kind of up into the air of Bell's car after he gets loose. Bell gets sent into the outside wall hard. Some people say this is the hardest hit in a Gen 7 car so far. I don't know whether that's true or not, but I'll take their word for it. Bell was seen, or Elliott, after they got out of the cars, Elliott was seen going over to Bell to talk to him. He did take responsibility for the crash, likely apologized. Bell seemed to accept it, and all's good. Bell did not talk to the media on Sunday, posted on social media Monday after he returned to North Carolina, went to the doctor, confirmed the fracture, posted, quote, "Thank you to each and every one of you who has reached out to check on me. Truly feel the love. I'm grateful for my team of doctors, Joe Gibbs Racing, NASCAR, and all the previous drivers who've helped pave the way for safety standards in our sport." Fractured wrist tells me he was probably holding on to the steering wheel when he hit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
And I can understand to a certain extent that you want to try and see if you can control the car and keep it from hitting the wall. But at some point in time, don't you do what we've seen most other drivers do when they realize it's fruitless and take your hands off the wheel and put them across your chest?
As fast as that happened, he probably didn't have time.
Didn't have time? Okay. All right.
Jimmy Johnson only has 36 career poles.
Really?
36.
That's a lot lower. I would have thought he would have been in the low to mid 40s.
I would have thought he'd been close to 50.
Yeah. Huh.
He only has 36 poles. His last pole coming in 2019.
Do me a favor. The other guy who obviously I would think of who's over 50 wins is Dale Earnhardt. Let's go look up him and see how many poles Dale Earnhardt's got. Meanwhile, during the week, so Corey Heim Get silly season started, right? Yeah, not the last move. Following the news, the 35 is going to move over from Riley Herbst to Corey Heim. Wood Brothers Racing has decided to make a change as well. Now, we don't know the full change. Here's the situation. We don't know the full change. The only part that Wood Brothers has noted is that current driver Josh Berry is going to be out of the 21. Josh Berry ended up basically breaking the news before Wood Brothers could. He was in a Ford team member teleconference of some sort and told everybody that was on the teleconference then, yeah, I'm not going to be in the car next year. Josh Berry's good enough, should land another ride. I don't have a problem with him finding another ride. And here's the other part for Josh Berry. As opposed to some drivers who we've heard about in recent past, he doesn't care what national touring series it is. He wouldn't mind it being in the Cup Series, but if it's in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series or the Truck Series, he'd be a perfectly happy guy.
Yeah, he would be. But
and I credit him for that.
I'm not in agreement with this.
Okay. Well, I'm not in agreement with the move either.
I'm not in agreement with it because you got somebody that's in full-time year 2 in your car. It's his fourth year in Cup.
Yeah.
Second full-time year in your car. Ford is down all the way across the board.
Right.
The 21 car is essentially the back marker Penske car.
Sure.
So why are we penalizing the driver when you're basically running research and development for the Penske?
Exactly.
And in some cases, you're outrunning the Penske cars yourself.
There is a possibility here that, to borrow an old phrase that I've used in my career, he may end up falling upstairs. He may actually have a chance to get a better ride now being out of the 21 car.
And I think, honestly, that he will.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to watch. Now, the rumor mill, of course, started big time. I was asked about this on Thursday when the news broke. And I was helping my wife and some other people at the winery. We'll talk about that more in just a little bit because they needed to bottle some stuff. And one of the coworkers, big NASCAR fan as well. Hi, Mike. We got to talking about this. And he said, well, who do you think? And I said, well, I do know this. Jesse Love said at the beginning of the year, he will not be racing in the O'Reilly Auto Parts in 2027. Not in that series. Well, only one car is available at RCR that we know of. And it looks like Austin Hill's going to go into that car. So my speculation is that Jesse Love has a better than even chance of getting an offer like this.
Likely.
But
likely.
Nothing has been announced. Nothing has been signed. That's just me thinking. The funny thing is yesterday morning, I saw some person who I will not name because, well, they're not credible. They posted online that Jesse Love was signed to Wood Brothers. Said it before. I'll say it again. Be careful who you're watching on social media because I got news for you. There's a whole lot of people out there that are just going to be willing to post whatever they think is right. Could it be right in the long run? Yes, it could. But it ain't right yet.
Dale Earnhardt only had 22 career poles.
Wow. Okay, then.
Yep.
That's a much more exclusive club than what I initially thought.
Yep.
All right, when we come back, Daniel Dye continues his comeback tour. I'll tell you who he's racing for and where right after this.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network. 2 tires only, and back out to the track for more action on the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome back into the show. Hoping to have a chance to talk a little bit more drag racing coming up in a little bit with somebody who's actually on the scene. Our good friend and buddy, Shop Talk host Jim Moore, who will come on the on this radio station just after we get done at 10 a.m. Central Time. His brother is helping out pro stock motorcyclist Stevie Johnson, who is a Birmingham area native. So we're hoping to have the chance to talk to him sometime within the next hour and 15 minutes or so. That'll be a good time. Get an on-the-scene report from Bristol. That'd be a good time. Mm-hmm. You and I have pretty much the same thought about Daniel Dye. This rebound, I'll give Daniel Dye all the credit in the world. This rebound is quick. It's quick. Is it justified? I look at what Kyle Larson did and what Daniel Dye did, and I see little difference between the two. And it took Kyle Larson a lot longer than this, to rebound. Daniel Dye continuing his comeback tour, the Cup Series race coming soon. He's going to join Live Fast Motorsports to drive the number 78 in the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, in addition to the other 4 races that he was already scheduled to run through the end of the 2026 season.
Yay.
If you're not familiar with what Daniel Dye did, Daniel Dye in a podcast basically questioned the personal life of IndyCar driver David Malukas. It prompted an immediate indefinite suspension from both NASCAR and Cowlig Racing because he had signed on to drive for Cowlig in the Truck Series. NASCAR, after seeing what he did to kind of start working on the rehab situation, lifted the suspension. Cowlig didn't do anything, so Daniel Dye quit.
I'm pretty sure that wasn't all Matt Cowlig. It was more likely a lot of it Tim Kuniskis and Ram.
Probably so. So either way, he's out. He leaves that full-time ride, and since then he has been, again, still working to rehab it. When Kyle Larson did this situation, when he, inadvertently or not, uses the N-word during, what was it, an iRacing race?
iRacing race at Monza.
He didn't get a chance at another ride, really, within NASCAR until the next year.
Yeah. And
and that's Kyle Larson.
I will say it this way. On those iRacing channels where you can communicate and talk back and forth, I have heard substantially worse than what he said.
I hate to say it, but I'm not really shocked.
I've heard substantially worse.
So,
and, you know, I said it before we made the move over here to this home. You can question somebody's lifestyle and get a promotion.
Apparently.
That's essentially what this is.
Yeah, apparently.
Granted, he'll probably be 5 laps down by lap 7.
Well, yeah. And, you know, regardless of what you might think about the talent of Daniel Dye, and I'm not really questioning his talent here when we say this, I don't mean any disrespect to BJ McLeod either, but let's face it, the 78 car is not the fastest car on the track. It just never has been, even when it had a charter.
And I'll piggyback off of this. The only time that the 78 has a legitimate chance, let's say that, when they roll it off the lift gate, is when they come into Daytona, Talladega, or Atlanta. Yeah. Honestly, that's it.
As long as they've built that motor to the point where it keeps up with the draft, you've got a chance.
And BJ McLeod has proven that a couple times.
Yeah, and he's actually quite a good speedway racer.
Yeah,
I give him a lot of credit.
is. I mean, BJ's got his operation. I mean, he holds his own.
Yeah.
To what he's limited to and what resources he's got.
Yep.
Simply put.
Time Magazine. We don't talk about Time Magazine a whole lot. And the fact that they're still actually in print is a little bit of a shock to me. But their annual list of the 100 most influential sports figures actually this year has a NASCAR flavoring. If you're looking for the cover of it so you can read it in its entirety, all you got to do is look for the predictable. It's a profile picture of LeBron James, who, keeping in mind this is 2026, Time Magazine has already labeled the most influential athlete of the century.
Okay.
We got 3/4 of this century to go, boys.
Don't
Might want to hold off on that moniker for now.
I don't think any of us is going to see the end of this century anyway.
Probably not, but still,
Oh.
this kind of stuff has a pretty long life.
Yeah.
Because it's now on the internet, which means it's there for eternity.
Yep.
But there he goes, athlete of the century, LeBron James. If you're looking on CRN Live on YouTube, that's the cover. Okay. Anyway, more importantly for us, there are 3 NASCAR figures that are mentioned in the list of the 100 most influential sports figures. And probably should come as no shock that 2 of them are the co-owners of 23XI Racing, Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin. They, along with Bob Jenkins from Front Row Motorsports, brought the lawsuit that ultimately led to all the charters becoming permanent. So it's no wonder that those 2 are 2 of the 3. Bob Jenkins actually, strangely enough, is not the 3rd. If you had not read this, and I told you 3 NASCAR figures were mentioned in the top 100, who would you have thought the 3rd one might be?
You honestly would right off the bat think it would be somebody like Jeff Gordon or
Who's ready to take over Hendrick Motorsports?
or Dale Earnhardt Jr. or somebody like that.
Okay. 3rd person on the list, 23-year-old Carson Hocevar. He just got his first Cup win at the spring race at Talladega. The magazine noted helped add to his combination of talent and self-confidence that has attracted a big following.
And honestly, when you listen to driver intros and you listen to the cheers, his cheers are getting as loud as any one of them, or louder.
And here's the strange thing. I mean, this is a kid who came in and admittedly was pulling a Days of Thunder situation, basically. Robert Duvall looking into the window and looking at Cole Trickle, played by Tom Cruise, and going, when you get back out there, I want you to hit the pace car. Hit the pace car? Hit the pace car. Why? Because I want you to hit everything on the track. I want you to be perfect. It looked like that was Carson Hocevar's objective, to hit everything on the track that he could.
Yep, ladies and gentlemen, that was the rated Y7 version of the actual real-life quote.
Yes, I cannot quote it exactly. How has he gone from being the guy who played bumper cars to one of the most popular drivers?
Because he has that, I don't care, I'm going to do what it takes to win attitude.
And let's face it, we like that.
And there's nothing wrong with that attitude.
No.
Nothing.
I'm not saying there's a thing wrong with it. And I like the kid. You and I, we got to talking about this a few weeks ago, kind of equating the NFL draft weekend to if we were going to start our own teams using a draft and everybody was available. I chose Carson Hocevar.
Yeah.
I drafted Carson Hocevar. I'd be more than happy to have him on my team. I understand he's going to bring me back as often as not a steering wheel as opposed to the entire car. But the talent is there. There's no doubt about it. You can't argue that the talent is there. Does he have rough edges? Yeah. Can they be smoothed? Oh, yeah, they can.
I mean, granted that from 25 to 26, Spire's overall performance has improved by leaps and bounds.
Immensely. Carson Hocevar wins at Talladega. Daniel Suarez has a win. And this was after he got into a battle early in the year, I can't remember which track, with Ross Chastain, his former teammate at Trackhouse Racing. Ross Chastain said, "You're the one that got fired. Who's got the win?"
I'll take the W. I'll take the W.
Spire Motorsports has stepped it up. Ain't no doubt about it.
But he was taking Spire cars last year and running at an admirable performance.
Yeah.
Last year. And Spire used to be, keyword, used to be the laughing stock back marker of Cup.
Oh, yeah.
Now you blink your eyes. Oh, hey, look what
Something's
we
going
got
on
here.
over there. Yeah. Something's going on over there.
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago that we were sitting there saying, okay, they went out and they bought a charter to put the 71 car out on the track, but they didn't hire a full-time driver. They were just piecemealing the driver. Now, all of a sudden, they're out there and they're being highly respectable.
Very.
Highly respectable.
Trucks and Cup.
Yeah, exactly. A couple of notes in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series, nothing having to do really with on-track stuff. Congratulations out to two different drivers. First to Garrett Smithley. Garrett Smithley, very productive during the O'Reilly Auto Parts series off weekend, took the time to propose, I should say, to his longtime girlfriend, Keely Dubensky. I hope I got that right. She did accept. No word on when the pending nuptials are planned. One would presume in the off-season, but here's the thing. You never know. Because even though Garrett Smithley does get kudos and congratulations for proposing, one-upping Garrett, his competitor Jeb Burton, who took the off weekend and married his fiancée, Amanda Oslowski. So maybe they'll just choose the next off weekend and go ahead and get married then.
Anything you can do, I can do better. I think that's the way it goes.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So congratulations to them both. When we come back, Brendan Gaughan making a comeback. Tell you exactly how. Plus, we'll talk about Justin Marks. How are those two coming in?
Greg is a real Prevagen user, and this is his story.
Hi, I'm Greg. I'm not an actor. I'm just a regular person. 8 years ago, I just didn't feel like I was on my game. I started taking Prevagen, and I want people to know that Prevagen has worked for me. Give it a try. I want it to help you just like it has helped me.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Testimonialist was compensated for their time.
The U.S. Treasury just released its official financial report for 2025. Buried in it is a startling admission. By its own numbers, it appears the U.S. government is insolvent. When governments go this deep in debt, they print money, raise taxes, or cut benefits, none of which can help protect you. That's why people move part of their savings into physical gold and silver. Call Monetary Gold at 877-NOW-GOLD for their complimentary gold and silver guide. That's 877-NOW-GOLD. Call Monetary Gold now at 877-NOW-GOLD. Do it before the next headline, not after. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
Fuel only, go, go, go. We're back to the Championship Racing Network.
Into hour number 2 here as our crossed flags have officially hit halfway into the show. Not just a good title for a podcast, but it's a very appropriate situation when you're talking about 2 hours. Portions of our show, like this portion being brought to you by our friends at Cat and Bird Winery. Want to thank them very much for being a great sponsor of ours. And they've always got stuff going on. Today, they're open from noon until 6, regular day. Got the pavilion down there open and everything. So fans going on. So if you're worried about sitting out and being hot, don't worry about it. They got big fans. They'll help cool you off. Coming up this Thursday night, the 18th, got Girls Night Out. Now, it says girls not out. Guys, you can go too. It's open to you, but there'll be a lot of estrogen there. A little bit of shopping going on as well for the ladies. That's open to the public, 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. In addition, there will be a cookie decorating class. If that's something that you've often thought about trying to do, there is a class for that's going to be happening. Now, that is a little bit of an extra charge because, after all, it's a class, but that's Whisk Confections. And then there is a yoga class coming up next Saturday morning, 11 a.m. to noon. All kinds of great stuff constantly going on at Cat and Bird Winery. Wide selection of wines. They're constantly adding new and different ones. Plus, they got some beers. They got some wine slushies, so stuff that'll help keep you cool. They do have stuff for the kids as well, and the kids can go and they can help feed the 2 horses or the donkey that are on the grounds as well. So, great place to go. Cat and Bird Winery, 11661 Old Highway 280 in Chelsea. Thanks to Matt and the gang out there at Cat and Bird Winery. And if you tell them you heard about it right here on CRN, get a discount off of your bill. Just hinting.
Nice.
Not bad at all. All right, so hour number 2, 2 drivers who, well, we haven't really talked about them driving a whole lot here recently. In fact, it's been some time, first of all, since Brendan Gaughan has been in NASCAR competition. It's actually been since 2020 since he's been behind the wheel. And it's been even longer than that since he raced in the Craftsman Truck Series. But his desire to race in the upcoming event at the Coronado Naval Base was no secret, and McAnally Hilgeman Racing had Gaughan's answer. And he's got some ties to McAnally Hilgeman Racing. He's also got military ties. So this really all kind of came together for him. Gaughan has military ties in the fact that he is an honorary squadron commander for the U.S. Air Force's Combat Control Team. It's that logo that will adorn the bed cover of the number 20 Chevrolet Silverado that otherwise will have sponsorship from the Gaughan family's South Point Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. Very cool move on that part. And a cool move on McAnally Hilgeman.
Yep.
Last time he was in a truck has been about 20 years.
Yep. It's
and he's going to a place nobody's really been. Is this a negative for him, or does that even everything out because really nobody's got experience here?
Honestly, I think it evens everything out.
Okay. All right.
Because this week that iRacing released Qualcomm circuit.
Yes,
at
we were
Coronado.
gonna talk about that. All right, hold off on that for just a moment.
Okay.
Because also being out there is Justin Marks.
This one raised my eyebrow.
Justin Marks is, in case you hadn't known, or if you're thinking, I know his name, where do I know it from? He's the owner of Trackhouse Racing. But he's going to join with a rival, sort of, Inspire Motorsports for this one race. He's going to be behind the wheel of their number 77 Chevrolet Silverado for the San Diego Naval Base race in the Truck Series. Sponsorship from Trackhouse primary and associate sponsor, Jockey. This is Marks' first time behind the wheel of a truck since 2022 at Mid-Ohio, a race you were at, I think. 23, sorry. And the first time in any of the top 3 series of NASCAR since 2023's O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race on the streets of Chicago. So how does something like this come together? Well, Spire Motorsports President Bill Anthony said of Marks, quote, "Our relationship with Justin goes back a long way from his time coming up through the sport. So it means a great deal to have him in our number 77 Chevrolet Silverado for this race. We know how important this event is for Justin and for Jockey, and we're proud to support that opportunity while recognizing the tremendous impact that Justin continues to have as one of NASCAR's best advocates." So apparently there's a really good relationship between Marks and everybody over at Spire.
Yeah, I mean, Zilich has drove for a Spire truck this year. Gisbergen drove a Spire truck this year. Ross has been running for Nice.
Yeah.
But everybody needs to keep one eyebrow raised and do not look away from that 77 truck. Because Marks is a pretty solid, accomplished road racer, and he's really good.
Yeah.
And this now makes 2 Cup Series team owners that will be in the Truck Series race.
Jimmy Johnson.
Driving Tricon.
Yep. Okay, so let's get back to this because you and I, we've seen this track from really more of an aerial view. You know, the global map sort of thing, they outline the map for us so that we have an idea of what this track is going to look like.
Track map view, yeah. Yep.
You, as you just mentioned, you're an iRacing racer, and I think it's a very, very cool thing because they do. You want to talk about doing some really, really good stuff and being able to go and get really detailed mappings, for lack of a better term, of a whole lot of different courses all around the world, regardless of series.
Oh, yeah.
They finally put up this track.
It came out this week on Tuesday, actually.
And I do wonder how they mapped it since it's on a naval base.
I don't know either, but there's a couple things that I do know. One, there's going to be some Cup Series drivers that are going to get the absolute living daylights beat out of them in that car.
This
course is rough.
Okay.
Rough.
And I would expect that, sure.
It's going to be a slow race.
Okay.
Because there's not any given point on this track where you get above fourth gear.
Ooh.
And you barely hit fourth gear. Thirdly, there are railroad tracks that go through this course at a point. I'm serious.
I have to admit, I found that real interesting when you said that before the show.
When you when you leave the first corner 1 and corner 2 section of the track, and you're going down the area where they keep promoting, where you get to look at a aircraft carrier, it's in that section right there. When you're going apex and out of 3, going to turn 4, the left-hander, there's a set of railroad tracks like a trolley tracks that are in the middle of the doggone course.
And you said you got launched. You took out what all have you taken out on this track so far?
I have taken out a Cup car. I've taken out a truck, an ARCA car, an Indy car, and an F1 car.
Okay. You said you hit the tracks wrong or something?
Apexing in a corner, apexing out of turn 3 into turn 4, following the lines. And on this one, yes, I turned on the racing line to where I could see and make sure to hit the points of where I didn't destroy a car.
Yeah.
It apex through turn 3, going down into turn 4, and there is a apparent manhole cover that is right there in part of that spot.
Ow.
I hit it just right, and it launched the car off the ground. But
so much for not destroying a car.
The thing about this course is going to be absolutely eyebrow raising when cars actually hit it next week. When you're going from turn 1 down into turn 2, there is a hump in the track to where cars may be all 4 tires off the ground.
Ooh. Airtime.
Yeah, literally airtime.
Okay. This ought to be interesting.
But to me, on the back side of the track, where they come through the section where the airbase or runways are, there are too many kinks and too many tire packs.
Yeah?
Way too many.
Gotcha.
Way too many.
I should have allowed them to stretch their legs out on this one.
Yeah, and there's a lot of places that are like really, really tight in the track that may be just barely wide enough for 2 cars.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the runway section, there are some sections that you could realistically go 4 or 5 wide.
Wow. Okay. Because I do have Amazon Prime, I went and I watched and it's made for it. It's I'm not going to call it a propaganda piece, but it's a promo piece called NASCAR versus the Navy.
Yeah.
And it was kind of fun to watch, 6, I guess it was, NASCAR drivers getting out there, and you could see portions of the naval base, including the runway.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they didn't show you the entire track.
Right.
But it was kind of fun to just kind of start to get a little bit of a feel for exactly what it is that they're going to be dealing with, because they show you a little bit of it. And I also found out that at least the Amazon Prime TV main broadcasting crew will be on that aircraft carrier doing the broadcast.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
As far as whether the MRN main broadcast booth is going to be doing that as well, I don't know. It would make sense, though, if they were.
Yeah, it would.
But you and I have wondered about this and how many spotters they're going to need.
I did read and did read to where there are teams, because of how wide and stretching this course is, there are teams that are making requests to have as many as 8 spotters.
Whoa. Okay. There you go.
I stand corrected on something.
Mm-hmm.
It's turn 1 down to turn 2 where the jump is.
Okay.
Turn 4 is where the railroad tracks are.
Okay.
There are kinks that you have to go through, tire packs that are in 12 to 12B, 13 down to 15, and there is a chicane kink from 15 down to 16 going to where the start finish line is.
This is going to be an interesting track.
After we do the show, he's gonna get a visual on it, because I've got a little bit of gear where I can do a short tutorial run of what it's gonna look like.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I got to admit, I am looking forward to seeing this race next week.
It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it is. I've got a fascination for that, and truth be told, I'm looking forward to the Freedom 250 for the Indy 500 for the Indy cars in Washington D.C. I'm curious as to how that's going to go.
Did you see?
Which we'll talk about a little bit more later on in the show.
Yeah. Did you see? That would be a precursor.
Yeah.
I see it right here.
Okay. All right. Meantime, let's talk about some other stuff here. Let's shift gears over to Formula One. And as we talked about an hour ago, we were going to get back to penalties. Here, I told you there were penalties, multiple penalties. Here are all the penalties that were handed out during and after the Monaco Grand Prix from last Sunday. Franco Colapinto got a 5-second penalty for speeding on pit lane. Pierre Gasly got 2 5-second time penalties for speeding on pit lane. But that's an incomplete story. Lance Stroll, 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits. How in the world do you exceed track limits on a street course that is so tight? Not by much. Nico Hülkenberg got a 10-second time penalty for causing a collision. Sergio Perez, 10-second time penalty for a false start, technically starting outside the start box. That one dropped him and Cadillac from 10th to 15th, and as we talked about, denied Cadillac their first ever Formula One points. So I told you the Pierre Gasly situation was incomplete. Here's why. Alpine, his team, filed an immediate appeal of those 2 5-second penalties that were levied against him. He crossed the finish line on the track in 3rd place. The 2 penalties, though, once assessed, dropped him down to 7th. Penalties again levied for 2 pit road speeding penalties. Alpine brings forth information, we don't know what because it wasn't detailed, but it caused the FIA to reverse their initial decision, say he did not exceed the 60 kilometer per hour pit road speed limit after all, because they said the way that they measured the speed was incorrect. Okay. So either way, that's been flipped. Now he's been re-awarded 3rd place. So he gets a podium back. So 1st and 2nd remain unchanged. Kimi Antonelli wins. Lewis Hamilton finishes 2nd. Now the official results have Gasly in 3rd place, drops Isaac Hadjar back to 4th, relegates Oscar Piastri to 5th. Liam Lawson's credited with 6th, and in 7th is now the rookie Arvid Lindblad. This also, by the way, did not make either Red Bull or McLaren happy because they respectively now miss out on a podium 3rd place finish and a 4th place finish and the points resulting thereof. So they're appealing the appeal.
Now I've got a headache.
Yeah, exactly. They note that the way that they measured the speed was incorrect.
I thought they had lasers and signal trips for that.
One would have thought. All right, so NASCAR, when they're doing pit road, they're basically timing the cars from one line to the next.
Mm-hmm. And
why wouldn't Formula One do the same thing?
I'm clueless as to why. I'm honestly clueless as to why.
I mean, as long as you got it measured out to the point where every single one of those sections is the exact same length, you're good.
Yeah, you should be.
You know, it's kind of like framing a house, 16 inches on center. So line, center, and I'll throw out a number. This is not correct, but let's just throw out a number. 100 feet is a section. 100 feet from the middle of this line to the middle of this line.
Yeah.
And you make it consistent throughout the course of pit road.
See, there's a lot of people that don't know and don't realize that where you see those lines on pit road, there are actually little tiny metal strips that are right at those lines. And what those metal strips do is when they plug in the timing system to everything at the track, those metal strips, when they are crossed over by the car with a little tab on the transponder that points down, that transponder tab trips that metal signal. That's what sends the data back to the timing and scoring computers that signifies up. Just say, for an example, Steve was, let's say pit road speed's 55, Talladega 55.
Yeah.
You get a 5 mile per hour cushion. Steve was 56.1.
It's not really pressing the envelope, but still.
I'm
safe.
I was 54.9. I'm way to the good. But John Bird was 58.8.
Raise an eyebrow.
Likely they're going to throw the penalty on him at 58.8.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Formula One doesn't have this same thing.
I am too. This is the first time I've ever heard of them having a pit road speeding penalty.
Yeah. And it's surprising to me too. Well, and another thing on that timing and scored. A lot of people don't realize either that the actual start-finish line that you see on the racetrack, that's not the actual start-finish line.
No.
There's the same thing if it is before the start-finish line about 2 feet towards the turn 4 side of the start-finish line, or the last turn, if it's road course, super speedway, whatever. Same metal strip goes through the track. When that transponder goes over it, that's who wins it.
Yeah. And it's well placed. I'll give them that, because where the transponder is located on the car puts it at about a point where once it trips that, the very front of the car is right about the start-finish line.
Right.
So they did place it very, very well. I got to give them credit for that. We're going to take a break here in just a couple of moments, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the ADUO report that they came up with. But first, let's get to the phones here. Kyle checking in from Hoover. Hey, Kyle, how are you?
Hey, Steve, how are you guys doing today?
We're doing well. What you got on your mind, man?
I wanted to ask, because this is a question I've had from a lot of, your traditional NASCAR fans.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I agree with it, but I wanted to get y'all's opinion. Do you get the feeling that they say, oh, NASCAR is trying to be too much like Indy and some of the things implementing and things like that? I don't think it's that. I personally think, no, what it is you have a lot of guys coming through that are not from the South, and I don't have a problem with that. I don't care if you're the best driver, get in there. But I do think for a while, NASCAR forces, and I think for NASCAR fans, they're like, I don't like this. This screams Indy to me.
Getting away from the base, in other words.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an interesting conversation to have, Kyle. And I'll tell you what, we're going to let you go. Matt and I will take this break here because we have to. And when we come back, we'll address that. How's that?
Sounds perfect.
All right. Appreciate it. It is interesting because this has been a conversation that has been going on for a while now. It was NASCAR trying too hard to be like, fill in the blank. IMSA, F1, IndyCar, pick your choose. And when you stop and think about it, some of the things that they've changed to make this Gen 7 car, like the single lug wheel, it does make you wonder. So yeah, let's get into it. And we'll do that next, right here on CRN.
Stay right here for more on the Championship Racing Network.
If you're thinking of retiring, call David Ernest, toll free, 833-596-7233. That's 833-596-SAFE. Or visit his website at retirewithernest.com. David Ernest is your money man with the money plan. You can throw your retirement out the window or do the smart thing and call David Ernest, 833-596-7233. That's 833-596-SAFE.
I'm David Ernest, and I approve this message.
Four tires and 2 cans of fuel, and we're back to more racing action on the Championship Racing Network.
So those of you watching on YouTube, whether it's Talk 99.5 or CRN Live on YouTube, you might notice that I've gotten a little comfortable here. I'm going to get into a conversation here in just a moment. First things first, let's talk Formula One. Q1 is done for the race of Barcelona.
It is, yep.
And who's got eliminated?
Eliminated is Carlos Sainz, Esteban Ocon, Alex Albon, and your usual bottom four suspects, Perez, Bottas, Stroll, and Alonso.
All right. So the Aston Martins and the Cadillac still having problems.
I stand corrected. Sainz did go to Q2.
Okay. So the Aston Martins and the Cadillac still have work to do.
They take 16 now to Q2 instead of 15.
And who was at the top of the chart?
Lewis Hamilton, Sir Lewis Hamilton.
All right. See whether he can hold on to that or not.
Yep.
Okay, so before we went to break, and you can, by the way, call in or text in with your thoughts, 205-545-9950. Feel free. Kyle called in before the break and asked, and he's heard this from some other people, and he actually said he doesn't necessarily believe so, but is NASCAR trying too hard to be like, and fill in the blank. He said IndyCar specifically, but you could throw in F1, you could throw in the IMSA series, sports cars.
Yep.
And there's some aspect to where the sports car situation might actually take effect because, for example, we've seen Shane Van Gisbergen come in and be really, really good at the Cup Series level right off the bat because these cars are very, very similar to the Australian supercars.
They are here. I thought about this, and here's the way I'll break it down. In some of the way that race procedures go, and race procedures covers a wide array of things.
True.
Overall. In ways they try to be too much like F1.
Okay.
From the Cup side, on a car standpoint, they are way, way too hard trying to be like IMSA.
Mm-hmm.
Because these cars are, in a lot of ways, it's basically a GT3 car.
I would agree.
It's basically a GT3 car.
If you look at it, a couple of years ago when Hendrick and NASCAR and Goodyear and there's one other one, I can't remember who it was, came in and they created that Garage 56 entry that ran at the 24 Hours Le Mans. They were put into
Action Express.
Thank you. They were put into, was it the GT? No, it wasn't GT3. It was, I forget the category.
It was the GT3.
Okay.
Yep.
It's the equivalent of that. They were blistering, by the way, the GT3 cars.
There was until they had that mechanical problem, they were in the top 8, I think.
Yeah. They were blistering them. And when you look at what they had to do to build that car off of a Gen 7 platform to make it work for rules for Le Mans, they actually had to do very, very little to that car except put headlights on it for all intents and purposes.
Yep. It wasn't much.
They had to do very little to change that car. And there's a couple of different ways of looking at it. You can look at it and go, okay, we've got these other series that are creating competition for us. And we've said this before, and I'll say it again. The Cup Series is the king of motorsports here in the United States of America if you look at the television ratings.
Yep.
Now, the lead is dwindling, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you can still count on 2.5 to 3.5 million people watching an average Cup Series race, regardless of what platform it's on. Be it Fox and Fox Sports at the beginning of the year, the current 5-race stretch that's on Amazon Prime, the next 5-race stretch that'll be on TNT, or the final stretch that'll be on NBC and mostly the USA Network.
Yeah.
Of the 14 races that NBC's been assigned, they only air 4. The rest of them will be on USA. That's why I say mostly USA.
True.
But not counting the Daytona 500, which generally gets between 6.5 and 8 million viewers per year, you can count on 2.5 to 3.5 million people watching a Cup Series race on average.
Yeah, because everything that's been released and been seen so far, Prime has been well over 2 million each time.
And approaching 3 in a couple of cases. In the case of Formula One and IndyCar, Formula One is actually beating out IndyCar. Not by a lot, but they are. And both of them are averaging about 1 to 1.5 million viewers per race. But that's also up because IndyCar, which used to be on NBC, found a whole lot of their races on either NBC Sports before that went away, and then USA. So people were having to go find it. And Formula One was on ESPN all the time. Couple of races here and there on ABC, maybe a couple of races on ESPN2, but at least you kind of knew where to find them.
Right.
Now they're on Fox. Fox is doing a heck of a lot better job of promoting IndyCar than what NBC did. So that number ticked up a little bit.
And to be quite honest with you, Fox is promoting IndyCar better than NASCAR.
Much better. And then you look at what Apple TV has now done, because basically all they did was do the exact same thing that ESPN did, which was pick up European coverage of F1 and put it on for American television. So they really don't have to work that hard to do it. I haven't seen the numbers yet for Apple Plus. I'm fairly certain the numbers dropped a little bit because, again, it has to do with subscription and streaming. But the popularity of Formula One, resurgent popularity of IndyCar, the NHRA is seeing an influx of popularity that we haven't seen for some time, and that prompted the resurgence of the IHRA from Darrell Cuttle. So motorsports across the board, really, other than NASCAR, are seeing a little bit of an uptick, and it is eating away a little bit at NASCAR. And here's the problem. I think NASCAR might be reacting to that in the wrong way. And I've used this example before. If I have a radio station with a specific format and then Matt comes in and he starts a radio station with the same exact format, I can do one of two things. I can say, I'm the heritage of format X.
Yep.
And I'm not worried about what Matt does.
True.
Because I'm going to continue to do what's made me a success so far.
Or
I can look at what Matt's doing on Format X, my format, the one that I started and he's coming in on, and I can react to everything that he does, and that's going to make anybody who's listening go, well, if he's just going to do the exact same thing that Matt's doing, why don't I go to Matt?
Yeah. The only thing I can see from the Apple TV F1 rating so far is the number of – no, I take it back. I misread it. I misread that.
All right.
That was from last year from –
last year of ESPN.
ESPN, but there was a quote from Apple's senior VP of services that stated that the 2026 season opener from the Australian Grand Prix was year over year a higher viewership than ESPN, but Apple did not release the exact numbers.
Okay, so we're waiting on the exact numbers to back that up.
Yeah,
I guess is the way we put it. But yeah, I think you and I have our problems with this car. We have had them since they debuted the car a few years ago. I don't think the car is perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I think part of the problem that we're dealing with at the Daytonas and the Talladegas, where it's become fuel mileage and follow the leader at speeds that are not counting this past spring at Talladega, but where we have seen them going half to 1/3 throttle and doing 180, 175, 180 around the track because they're all trying to save gas. I think part of that situation is because of the fact that they went to the single lug nut. Because it's much easier to pop one lug nut off, pull that tire, put the new tire on, and tighten up that one lug nut than it is to pop 5 lug nuts off, pull the tire, put the new tire on, tighten up 5 lug nuts.
Yeah, but
that gave you more time to fill up the gas.
Because you essentially shaved off 5 seconds off of a pit stop, so you got to find 5 seconds to save somewhere else.
And they didn't change the gas can at all, so the gas can's still slow.
I got in a super speedway race the other night with a cup car on iRacing, and there were 32 of us in that race.
Mm-hmm.
I elected to start at the rear on purpose.
Okay.
And what was baffling to me is you can do even a truck race too. You can do the same thing. The fuel saving aspect of what they do now translate over to something you can do on iRacing. And now when they've done some of the updates they've done to it, you got a throttle trace map that you can watch to where your throttle tracing is on iRacing.
Okay.
At a 5-lap stretch, I went back and reviewed data. There was a 5-lap stretch that I was successfully keeping up in the pack running 42% throttle.
And all that's to saving gas.
Saving fuel.
So, yeah, I think they've gone overboard on this. I think there are things that they could do to make it better.
Mm-hmm.
And in some ways, it's taking it back. One of the things that I like about this Gen 7 car is the fact that there is some of the personality, specifically in the Camaros, that make it look a heck of a lot more like the road-going car or its road-going brother.
Yeah.
A lot closer than what it has been over the last, 15, 20 years?
Yeah. And really the only comparison I've got into the Dark Horse Mustang is looking at how they're digitally done via the iRacing platform.
Yeah.
About virtually the only difference is where the GT3 car has a rear wing versus Cup car having a spoiler.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, I would love to see them go back, take the safety things that you have built in, keep them, obviously. We're not looking to get back to the days of, men dying in fires and in fireballs.
When you say that right there, from the safety aspects of this car to other cars of the past, if Chris Bell has that wreck in another car in the past,
ooh,
he may be leaving in a helicopter going to Detroit.
You might be right, yeah.
I hate to say it that way, but it's the truth.
But to me, there is still a way where you can take the safety aspects that are built into these cars and you can make effectively that Mustang that you see on the track on Sunday look like the Mustang you see on the road on Monday.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Camaro, and I get it. The Camaro is technically not being built now, but it's a nameplate that's going to be rebuilt here pretty soon. Camry's kind of the weird situation because obviously there's no two-door Camry. There used to be a Solara, but, effectively that was a two-door Camry, but there is none now.
Right.
But there's still, I think, a way that you could make that car look a heck of a lot more like its street-going brother, sister.
Could.
And still keep the safety aspect in there.
You could.
And get back to what NASCAR really was, which was win on Sunday, sell on Monday. We were, at one point in time, as loyal to the brand as we were to the driver.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, yeah.
But now it's kind of all generic.
Yeah, it really is. Really is.
You know, they're not listening to us.
No.
That's the unfortunate part.
That is true.
All right. Feel free, call or text. Same number, 205-545-9950. Yes, the text line does work using the call-in number. But you can call in or text in. Let us know what you think. Meanwhile, ESPN, they report that they've seen the document that shows, according to the FIA's so-called ADUO report, I'm not even getting into what that stands for, which engines are good, which might need some help. This is also known as the Internal Combustion Engine ICE Performance Index. They stated that Red Bull and Ford are the top performers, despite the fact that it doesn't actually show in the race results. Constructor Cup leaders, Mercedes, are actually second. So here's the deal. Mercedes gets a chance at an engine upgrade before the end of this year, or sometime between now and the end of the 2027 season. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
The other three engine makers, again, Cadillac not yet in, Ferrari, Audi, and Honda, they're going to get two chances to try to close the gap between now and the end of the 2027 season, as the index allow each of them now 2 upgrades. 7-time champion Lewis Hamilton cautioned about the test results, said don't expect any rapid changes in how the performance is currently going versus how it might look in coming races. Said, quote, that's like an 8 to 10 month project, so it's not just something we can do next week. We'll be pushing as hard as we can to see how to close it out. Then we go back to Red Bull / Ford. Because they were considered to be the top performing engine amongst the group, they get exactly 0 engine upgrades. And therefore, they have asked for a review of the results.
I would be too.
Yes. All right. So here's the deal. We're going to talk NHRA in just a couple of moments. Those guys are up in Bristol, Tennessee, and they're going to be running the Thunder Valley Nationals this weekend. A friend of ours, good friend of ours, in fact, mine specifically, because, well, I go down to him and get my car serviced at Moore Brothers Automotive, not only with Jim Moore, but his brother Obi. But Obi's out of town this weekend. He's at the Thunder Valley Nationals. We're going to take this break. When we come back, we'll talk with Obi, who's helping out Steve Johnson on the Pro Stock Motorcycle Division, right after this.
Don't touch that dial. The Championship Racing Network will be right back.
Hey everyone, it's Valerie Vining with David Fevitt from Be Dry, Alabama. Glad he's here to talk a little bit about where water ends up in our houses sometime.
Let me tell you, for the past couple of months, we've been through a drought, but those little problems you had last year, they're only going to get worse. And so this is time to be proactive, take care of your home.
Once you get water inside of your home, and we see this in central Alabama, I mean, it can do all sorts of damage to the house.
Water does so many different things besides causing the mold, musty odors, everything like that. It also harms your foundation. For one on the leaders in foundation and waterproofing. B-Dry has free consultations. We're here not just to sell, we're here to consult. And it proves it by our 5-star reviews and everything that you see about B-Dry. We stand behind for what we sell.
And that's exactly why people should act as soon as they see water or moisture or cracking in the foundation.
It's not going to get better. We've got 12 months, no interest, no payments.
B-Dry Foundation and Waterproofing, home of the lifetime warranty. For a limited time only, 25% off encapsulation. Lock it in and dry it out today. B-Dry, Alabama.
Two tires only, and back out to the track for more action on the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome back into the show here. Final segment for today, and we're going to slide away a little bit from our regular format where we were talking Formula One. Shift directly over to the NHRA. Jim Moore's brother, Obi, is on the line. You're up in Bristol. You are part of the pit crew, I take it, for Steve Johnson?
Hey, let's that's using the term very loosely. I'm more of moral support and doing some cooking duties for the crew.
I was about to say, I bet you they're going to put you to work in some way, shape, or form.
Well, yeah, I got here yesterday, and we round qualifying. Steve didn't like the way everything felt, so come back into the pits and we changed motors. So it was kind of a chaotic situation. All of us all hands on deck trying to pull a motor out, swap it, and get ready for second round of qualifying.
Okay.
Which luckily they oiled down the track a little bit, so it gave us a little extra time. So.
And we were kind of wondering about that because we knew that they had done redone the first 300 feet or so of the track, and how is that kind of affecting things that you've seen?
Yeah, I did hear that. I haven't been down. I went down there yesterday, but I didn't walk out on the track.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you, his 60 and 330 was really quick. Everybody seems to be really quick on the 60 and 330s. He had one of the best half-track times in the class yesterday. So I think it's working pretty good, Steve.
Excellent. Like to see it. So right now we're looking at him 10th on the ladder right now as we're dealing with qualifying?
Yep. He second pass round 2 qualifying. He was 7:003, which put him in the 10th spot, right? So this morning, we tore the motor down last night that he felt something weird about.
Mm-hmm.
And put the other motor in. He ran the second qualifying with the other motor, but we tore the motor down, and we couldn't find anything wrong. So this morning we put it back in. So,
okay.
So
that's
did a motor swap this morning, and round 3 I think he kicks off at 1:45 Eastern. So we'll see how that works. I'm looking forward to it because I think this motor actually generates more power. So we'll see how it works out.
Good. For a lot of people that don't know Steve Johnson, he is a Birmingham area guy, right?
Yeah, his shop's in Irondale. He moved from California several years ago, and he's been in the Birmingham. I kind of think of him as a Birminghamian now. He's been here so long, and he has a big shop over in Irondale. And I've been messing around with him for probably 15 years, and he's one of the oldest race rider. I hate to say it that way, but it's just a fact. He's been pro stock motorcycle for like 37 years. So
right.
It's pretty impressive that a guy my age can still get on that bike and go 200 miles an hour.
They got more guts than I do. I got news for you, man. That's just crazy.
No doubt.
I mean, I'll watch them, man,
doubt.
and I'm like, I'll watch some of these guys, and they'll leave off the line, get a little bit wobbly, and then they'll be able to recover it. And I'm just, you're a better person than I am.
Yeah, no doubt in my mind. I watch him too, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that don't look too smooth. But
exactly.
He always wrangles it back up. So
now is Steve?
Go ahead.
Is Steve thinking about full time, or is he still kind of more on a part time and picking and choosing his events?
Yeah, he hasn't been doing the West Coast swing up, the Northwest. I don't think he did that last year. I don't know about his plans this year, but he'll run the majority of them. I mean, for the most part.
All right. Well, we'll be looking out for him and looking forward to seeing him in the finals. And who knows, maybe you'll get a chance to get on camera.
Well, maybe. We'll see.
You never know. Well, Obi, we appreciate it. You and Steve, wishing you all the best. Hopefully he does well this weekend. We'd love to be able to talk about him getting a win.
Well, me too. That would be great. 2 years ago he won this race, so yeah. I'm looking forward to a little repeat.
Is this kind of a favorite for him, or does he have a track that he prefers over any other? Do you know?
Not really.
Okay.
He probably does, but he don't never share that because he don't want everybody to know.
I got you. That makes sense. All right, Obi, we appreciate you. Have a fantastic weekend up there and safe travels on your way back, okay?
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for coming on, Obi. We appreciate it very much. Steve Johnson, man. Birmingham area guy.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, we'll take you.
For sure.
Especially if you spent more years here than you did anyplace else, this is home.
For sure.
This is home, man. So good stuff. Love it. Back into kind of the format here with about 10 minutes or so left in the show. Obviously, we're talking silly season. We've talked it in NASCAR. Formula One, it's always a big deal in NASCAR. It's becoming a bigger deal in IndyCar. Formula One, you really don't hear about it much because they make all of their moves kind of in quiet. And then all of a sudden, boom, you'll either hear it during like the August break or they'll wait until after the season is done. But Aston Martin driver Fernando Alonso starting to make noise about this potentially being his final Spanish Grand Prix at Barcelona. Again, next year they'll be off. They'll start to get this 1 year on, 1 year off deal. And Alonso's now 45, which it's not old in the grand scheme of things, but when you're talking Formula One drivers, that's old. We don't see drivers doing 45 years old running Formula One much anymore.
Yeah. Very, 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 very few.
Yeah, and he's in his last year of his deal with Aston Martin, so he says he's basically treating each race like it might be his last one at that particular course. And being the Spanish Grand Prix, since it's his native land, it's got a little bit more emotion to it. When he was asked about his future plans upon his arrival in Barcelona and did a media press conference on Thursday, said, quote, "I don't have anything in mind. After the summer, I will take the decision to continue or not." Now, here's the situation. Yes, there are 22 cars available every year, but the vast majority of these are spoken for. So if he wants to move on from Aston Martin, how many seats are really available to him?
Not enough.
So if he decides to, it's basically either you're going to stick with Aston Martin and sign a new contract for a year, maybe two, or you're effectively retiring. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but I'm not sure where I see an opening right now for Fernando Alonso. I'm not seeing one right off the bat.
Unless somebody gets surprisingly kicked out of their seat.
Yeah, well, yeah. Could have happened, I guess. But I'm not holding my breath.
Q2's over.
All right. Talk about Q2.
Knocked out Sainz, Berriman, Gasly, Colapinto, Bortoleto, Lindblad.
All right.
So making it to the final round from 10-1 is Hülkenberg, Hadjar, Lawson, Piastri, Verstappen, Hamilton, Norris, Antonelli, Leclerc, and Russell.
Okay. Wow, Hamilton had a bad Q2 compared to Q1.
Yeah.
Ooh. All right. Not going to get it done by the time we get off the air, so just to let you know that. And the FIA has extended their deal with Pirelli as Formula One's official tire provider. This will happen through at least the 2028 season. Continues a run for Pirelli as the lone tire provider in that series that began back in 2011. Current deal was set to run out after the 2027 season, but the FIA had an option for 2028 that went ahead and exercised that option. And here's the thing. Most of the series, they have a lone tire provider, okay? But at the end of the contract, you open things up for the other tire makers. You come in, place a bid, become the new tire provider. The last time F1 had competing tire brands in any given year, you got to go all the way back to 2005 when Michelin and Bridgestone were last both in. Then Michelin backed out in 2006, and Bridgestone was the tire provider until Pirelli came on board and became the new one in 2011. Bridgestone tried to get the contract back in 2023, but the FIA stuck with the Italian brand Pirelli.
Yep.
And apparently will be there a little bit longer. And here's the thing. They do a good job of matching their tires up to the car. But it'll be interesting to see as we get ready to get into 2028 who might be interested in coming on board to try and battle for that versus Pirelli.
Right.
We rarely hear about these battles, though, when it comes to IndyCar, which is Firestone, or NASCAR, which is Goodyear.
Right.
I can't remember the last time I heard somebody saying, hey, you know what? We'd like to take on Goodyear and become the official tire provider for NASCAR.
That was 1994.
Been a while. I don't know how they open it up, but we'll see. 2014 Indy 500 winner Ryan Hunter-Reay might not be done driving just yet, but at the same time, he is planning on his post-race career and what he's going to do, and he has joined the front office of Arrow McLaren Racing. He's their new sporting director, claimed the 2012 series title, and was also the 2014 Indy 500 champion. Continues to run the Indy 500 as he did last month with Arrow McLaren. Now in his new role, he'll report to team principal Tony Kanaan. His job duties include making the most of the team on the track, whatever that means, and assisting their commercial success to bring in new sponsors while trying to get the team's cars running up front and competing for IndyCar titles year in, year out. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck for sure.
Yeah. It's Arrow McLaren. It's not like they're behind the 8 ball, but at the same time, I look at Palou, man, and what he's doing at Chip Ganassi, and he's just tearing everybody's hind ends apart.
And then some.
So that's your target. Go get him. Penske Entertainment has revealed the interest in the Freedom 250 Grand Prix of Washington, D.C. is very high. How high? Well, there have been almost 3 times the number of requests for tickets as there are tickets. Seating for the crowd to see the first ever IndyCar race on the streets of the nation's capital number 50,000. In over 2 days, that means 100,000. The number of requests for tickets, Penske Entertainment said as of this week, it was 288,000 requests.
Oof.
Now, here's the deal. The tickets are free. It's part of the America's 250th birthday. But the request period is done. So if you were thinking about going on and requesting them, sorry, you missed out on your opportunity. Now it's a process of going through to determine who's going to get the tickets, which is split, according to the race promoter, into what they call stars and stripes locations. Stars being on the outside of the course, stripes being seating on the inside of the course. And again, limited to 50,000 per day on the 2-day slate. Qualifying in some lower series running on day one. Lower series will run some on day 2, but IndyCar getting in the race as well. They're free. 288,000 in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Let's just say that the Metro is going to get a workout because I ain't driving into D.C. to try and get into all that mess if I were to get those tickets.
Negative.
IndyCar also continues to play with the idea of racing outside of the U.S. and Canada. They've toyed with Mexico City, but they've considered both Brazil and Argentina in recent years. Well, speaking of that, speaking of South America, a delegation from Colombia have approached IndyCar officials about a potential street race in the city of Barranquilla. Now, Barranquilla is on the Gulf of America, Caribbean side of things, literally right on the coast. So it'd be a pretty place to go. Reports state that the meeting at the Indy 500 late last month was productive, showed that there is funding in place for such an event. Several possible street circuits were presented in hopes that maybe they could be on the schedule for at least an exhibition, maybe as soon as next year. However,
it'd be a long way to go just for an exhibition.
It would. IndyCar CEO Mark Miles told Racer.com they have reached out to us, sent us a delegation to the Indy 500 weekend, which we first received a letter from them, and then in person we learned about the city and their interests. So we're in the very, very earliest stages of diligence and understanding it. This tells me it's not happening in 2027.
Correct.
I mean,
correct.
Argentina, which they've talked to, Mexico City, which has a course that IndyCar and NASCAR have run on in addition to Formula One and Formula E. They're all out there.
Yeah.
Those are known quantities. This is a street course race in a city that I don't know who's been to, if anybody.
Yeah.
Not holding my hopes out on this.
Yeah. That's about all you can say. Don't hold your hopes out.
Yeah. Two other notes. Matt Smith not racing this weekend in the Pro Stock Motorcycle Division. He continues to recover from medical issues, including but not limited to gallbladder surgery. His replacement's Joey Gladstone. And if you're a big NHRA racing fan or just a drag racing fan, the first anniversary of the creation of the 1,000 Round Win Club, which has all of 2 members, first John Force, the second Greg Anderson, they're celebrating the official creation of that club by now allowing you to buy the first officially licensed autographed product that shows each of them signed behind the 4 Goodyear tires representing the 1,000 mark. They're side by side. Price is $75. You can go to 1000winclub.com/products and find out more. That'd be a pretty cool thing to have because it's only 1,000 of those prints.
Yeah.
Hey, let's say we do this again next week.
Why not?
All right. So we will. In addition, we got a Cross Flags podcast coming up in the middle of the week as well. Hope you join us for all of that and stick around. As always, Shop Talk coming up here.
This has been a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.